Hello, hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our show tonight. I am so excited to be here. Hopefully, you guys are having a great week. This is the final week before Christmas. And I'm so excited. Like I said before, this is one of my favorite times of the year. And just to see and hear people out and about. We were out this weekend. So glad that you're here. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and we help you understand your body so that you can take charge of your health and avoid complications and live a healthy, fulfilling life. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and put new in the comments, and we would love to welcome you to these areas, so to this area. Also, if you have questions as we go through the evening, go ahead and put a Q in front of the question so that we'll know how to handle that. And I'm so excited that I have a special person with me tonight, my lovely wife, Dr. Charmaine Woode. Welcome, Charmaine.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here.
So as we get into the conversation for this evening, we'll be sharing and talking, and just so happy that she's here to bounce some ideas off of and ask some questions, and just have a good time with you guys. Tonight we are talking about gifts. So a gift, and if you remember reading the title, it says the gift, or what gift do we give ourselves? And often we give gifts to other people. We sometimes we'll get gifts from other people. A lot of times, so Christmas time or birthdays, anniversaries, and so forth. But what gifts do we give ourselves? And so tonight, the question that I want you to answer, right? And I don't want you to just whatever comes to your mind, right? Have you gotten a special gift this year? Just yes or no. Have you gotten a special gift this year? And we're going to expand that question here in a little bit. But just so glad that you guys are here. Let's see who's joining us here so far. So we've got Maria, of course, and Maria is saying good evening to everyone. And she says, hi, Dr. C.
Hi, Maria.
And what did she say? See, you're so beautiful. Lucky you. That's right. Lucky me.
Thank you. Lucky him.
Lucky me. And we have evening, Dr. Woode, and it's Donald. Hey, man, how are you doing? Glad that you are here.
Donald, good evening.
And then, of course, Maria is reminding everyone, if you have a question, please go ahead and put those in the chat with a Q so that we know how to get to those. And then if you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments also so that we can welcome you to our channel. We've got, let's see, Maria once again saying, Donald, good evening. And and then here's Ashley. Hey, Ashley, how you doing? And you guys see that little picture there? That's one of my favorite little people. Hey, little lady.
Ashley and Ella. Hi, Ella.
What's going on? Say hey, Ashley McHenry. So, the last couple of shows we've talked a little bit about gifts, and during my thought of the day we did that. And as we went into this particular show, I wanted to spend some time talking about a gift or gifts that we give ourselves, and that's what we're going to spend some time talking about tonight. And today in our staff meeting, Dr. C, Dr. Charmaine, Dr. Woode, all those are names that people call her. She asked the question to our team, what was the best gift that you got this year, right? The most special gift, and who gave it to you? And so we went around the room and we talked about gifts and what we've gotten and who gave them to us, and some of the special moments in the year. So that was pretty exciting. Everybody liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I think it emphasized that the most valuable gifts we receive aren't the material things, but they're the time that we spend with our loved ones. One person mentioned spending time with her grandfather before he passed away. And those are the things that really touch us, and those are the most meaningful gifts I believe we can receive and we can give to each other and ourselves.
Awesome. Love that. And I said that, I had gotten special gifts from two of my special people. One was my beautiful wife, and the other was my son. And you're right. They weren't like physical. They weren't tangible things. For me, we walk 3 days out of the week in the morning, and so for this year we've done that, and it was a time, or it is a time where we get to connect. We get to talk. Sometimes just laughing. Sometimes we just talk. We just walk, right, and go out and look at the ducks in the duck pond. And then, I came back from a trip last week. Anyway, so recently, 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I walked in and I said hello to my son. He's like, "Hey, Daddy." And so I'm walking down the hall to go find Charmaine. And so he jumps on my back and we start wrestling. And it was, he's growing now. And so, those moments are, I don't want to say they're rare, but to have him just come and so we started wrestling, and he's getting pretty strong. I gotta work out. So that's the question, right? What special gift did you get this year, and who gave it to you, right? Who gave it to you? So go ahead and put that special gift in the comment for us. All right, so let's see. We've got some other folks jumping on. So we've got Lauren, one of our regulars. Hey, Lauren, how are you? She says, "Hello, Wood family. Happy holidays." Good to see you.
Happy holidays, Lauren.
And then Chris Burt, he says happy holidays as well. And then, of course, Maria is welcoming everyone. Well, good. Well, why don't we go ahead and kind of jump in? Okay, let's jump into to what we're going to talk about tonight. And I want to go back a couple of shows, and we talked about consistency, right? So one of the gifts, consistency. We talked about self-care the last time that we discussed on our last show. That was my thought of the day. And tonight we're going to talk about 3 different things. And we're going to talk about forgiveness. Yeah, that's a big one. We're going to talk about love, right? And we're going to talk about what else? What's our third one for tonight?
Self-compassion.
Self-compassion, right? So forgiveness, love, and self-compassion. And so let's back up and let's give a kind of backdrop, okay? There are so many times as we go through our lives that we find that we may get stuck somewhere, something from our past, something from our future that we're anticipating. And as we are in the season of gift giving and gift getting, sometimes we forget about ourselves. And we've talked about self-care, but tonight we're going to add a few other things to that list that we can use to get ourselves unstuck, if you will. Okay, so that's where we're heading tonight, and we're going to throw those out. If you have questions as we go, once again, love, forgiveness, and self-compassion. Why am I forgetting that last one?
Maybe because it's rare.
Maybe because it's rare. So let's see. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pick one. We have no particular order that we're talking about these. Unless you have a particular order you think we should go in. No? Okay. So why don't we talk about this one that I think kind of encompasses everyone's thought as we get into these seasons. That's the thought of love. Okay? The thought of love. And, everyone has kind of this romantic idea of love always. The movies portray it. The books portray it. As a matter of fact, if you look at commercials, that's really how they get you to buy stuff a lot of times. You actually are supposed to fall in love with the product, right? And they make it all glamorous and so forth. So if you had to define love, I know that's a big one, right? What would you say?
I would say that love is a choice. And that's a definition I've grown into. Growing up or in my younger years, I would have said love is this feeling. But I've learned over time that love is a choice. It's a decision that you make to love someone. And that means you're going to treat them a certain way. You're going to value them. You're going to respect them. Love is a choice.
So love is a choice. And so when we have those moments in our encounters, in our relationships, that can be challenging, all right, or difficult, or hurtful, then we choose to still love. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, that's exactly the idea. So despite the feelings of the moment, because feelings are fleeting, feelings are temporary, you can still decide to act in a way that's loving and caring.
Okay. So that's loving other people, right?
Yes.
And we talk about, and there, we could define all kinds of love. There's romantic love, there's brotherly love, there's community love, right? All of those types of things. And sometimes we think that romantic love is the only love that there is.
And of course it's not. If you pay attention to, the media images and media messages, you may come away with that idea because that's what sells. Sex sells. It's got to be sexy. But, the love that you have for your neighbor, love that you have for your brother, for your parents, the love that, if you believe in a higher power has for us, those are just as important, maybe even more important, because they're more sustaining and they're not based on romantic feelings.
Okay, so so as they say, on day one, when you say I do, right, and we're going to use marriage as an example, when you say I do, on that day, everything is glossy. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, there's rainbows in the skies, there's no cloud in the sky, there's the golden road that you kind of take off on after you say I do. And then down the road a little bit, guess what? There is a cloud over there, or there is some rain. The rainbow's not there, and the golden streets look a little rusty. And then the question is, what do we do at that point? So I love that idea that love is a choice. So we choose to love when. I'm sorry guys, let me turn my getting some things here. Can you pop that off for me, please? Yeah. So we choose to love. Now, how does this idea of love, if we talk about other people, how does it apply to me, right? How do is there a place for love for me?
Oh, definitely. Self-love is important because you have to value yourself at least as equal an amount as you value someone else, more so realistically or more so ideally. But if you're struggling with self-love, at least get to the point where you feel that you love yourself as much as you love someone else. And it's important as you go in your day-to-day interactions that you love yourself. Otherwise, you're going to attract people to you that come with the same energy that you have. So if you have an energy that's not of self-love, you're going to attract people who don't truly love you.
Oh, wow. So wait a minute. So if I don't love myself, then I begin attracting people to me that don't love me, or people have that same energy?
Exactly.
Whoa. Did you guys hear that? Ooh. So there is more than just you kind of an isolated person. You don't love yourself, and you're not doing that. You're in this room, but it's not that. You're out in society, and those people get attracted to you, and if that's the case, you get weighed down.
You do. So if you struggle with self-love and you do not love yourself, you're going to question whether or not you're worthy of love. And you're going to subconsciously look for people who support that belief that you have about yourself. And that's where the attraction comes in.
Wow. And so really they're confirming the idea that you already have. And so you're looking for proof.
Yes.
To support that.
Yes.
Wow.
That's that belief is so strong subconsciously, and we don't want to be wrong. So we look for proof that we're unlovable, we're not worthy of love. And those are the people that you're going to attract.
Mm-hmm. So how do I... So let's start with other people for a minute, right? And this, I think, will lead into one of the other things that we're going to talk about. So how do I love someone who's not lovable?
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
And it's moment by moment. It's decision by decision. It's day by day.
Okay. So can I love someone I don't like?
Oh, most definitely.
Because it's a
choice. It's a choice.
And we're not talking about romantic love, right? We're talking about what kind of love in that case?
Brotherly love.
Brotherly love?
Yeah.
Okay. To a fellow human being?
Yes.
Right? Love someone because they have value?
Yes. And they have value just by being here. Just by being part of human. By being human, they have value. So they don't have to do anything else. They don't have to be anything else. Just the fact that they're here. That means they're valuable.
Wow. So how do I love myself if I think I'm unlovable? And a corollary to that is let's back before you answer that question. Where did that come from? I mean, so we're born. A baby doesn't say I don't love myself, right? So where does that develop? How do we get that idea that I'm unlovable?
I believe it starts in childhood because children don't have the ability to contextualize experiences. They personalize experiences. So you may have a parent who is wrapped up in their own situation, just the stress of life, and they're incapable of giving that child maybe something that child needs. The child then internalizes it and thinks, well, I don't have that, or my parent won't give me that because I'm not worthy of it, because I'm not good enough. That's not at all what the parent intended, but that's the message the child receives. So it gets baked in pretty early.
Wow.
And if nothing happens to change that belief, then that belief grows and it follows that child into adulthood, unfortunately. So often that's why we as adults struggle with self-belief, with feelings of poor self-esteem, feelings of self-worth, feeling that we're not valuable.
Wow. So as we develop, those things become a part of our existence, and if we're not careful, now as children, that becomes a part of us, and as adults now, we're trying to undo a lot of those things. A lot of times we'll see people who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, and they're still dealing with something that occurred when they were a young child.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So how do we love ourselves, right? So this develops. Love is a choice. I think I'm unlovable. Where do I go? How do I develop that? You know, someone is out there watching right now, and they feel like they're not lovable.
I think it starts with awareness, first of all, and a willingness to be open and look at things differently and look at your life experiences a little bit differently and decide that that's an area you want to work on and have conversations about it. Wise people in your life, you can seek out counseling or coaching. There are lots of ways where you can work on a specific area of your life that you find yourself in struggle around.
Wow. Okay. And so if there are things in my life that I've done, where does forgiveness come in?
So are you talking, so these are things that you've done.
Well,
so
yes, so we can start there. I mean,
Okay.
we'll expand that in a minute,
Okay.
but yeah, if I've done some things, how do I forgive myself? What's the process there?
So that is particularly difficult, especially if whatever you've done reinforces those messages you got when you were younger. The messages that led to the belief, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And you start telling yourself, I always mess up, or I'm always doing something bad, or I am bad. So those feelings of guilt and shame can really have someone, as you said, stuck and really have them bogged down. So how do you get unstuck? Well, awareness, acceptance. If there's something specific that you've done that you need forgiveness for, you have to accept responsibility for it. Accept responsibility for it and the hurt that you may have caused.
Wow. So accept it. And once again, it's a choice, right?
Yes.
So all these are choices. So I'm unlovable. So we deal with that. There are things that I've done that may feed into that being unlovable.
Yes.
And choosing to, okay, I've got to forgive myself. Now here's a big one. Okay. So how about giving yourself the gift of forgiving someone else? What did you get what I said? So giving
Yes.
myself the gift of
Yes.
forgiving someone
Yes.
else. What
Yes.
does that mean?
So what you're saying is that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. So whether or not you're forgiving yourself or you're forgiving someone else for an infraction against you, there's research has shown that forgiveness is an important part of being healthy, of your health journey, right? There are physical effects from holding on to a spirit of non-forgiveness or unforgiveness. If you're carrying grudges or a spirit of unforgiveness around, that influences anxiety, blood pressure, poor sleep, all the things that we struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Stress levels. If you want to decrease your anxiety, decrease symptoms of depression, if you're struggling with even weight, right? Once you are able to forgive that other person or forgive yourself, then your emotional state becomes calmer. And so the stress levels decrease, so goes the anxiety, so goes the blood pressure, the stress hormones decrease, you're able to drop off that weight that you've been holding on to for a long time. So definitely, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. And that could be through forgiving someone else or through forgiving yourself for something that you yourself have done.
Wow. So a lot of times we hold on to these feelings against someone else, and really it may be causing a problem in us.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Huh. So I gotta go look at my list and see if there's some people I need to I need to forgive. Whew.
You need to forgive, or you need to make calls to.
Well, I need to make calls to. So okay, all right. So this is a good place for us to take a break. So guys, if you've not already done so, please check us out on our social media. Dr. Dwain Woode, MD. Dwain Woode, MD. On our LinkedIn, TikTok. Here, of course, 7:00 every Monday night, and on Twitter. And then, of course, buymeacoffee.com/Dwain Woode MD to support what we are doing. If you are interested in more exciting content, once again, live here, 7:00 every Monday night, 10:00 on Fridays for our TikTok, and then on a daily basis for our Twitter. Please go ahead and join us there. We would love for you to be a part of it. And if you've not already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so that you'll be notified of new things that we do. Share this information with your family, with your friends, so that they can be a part of it as well. And just you guys may see, let me see if I can get, so I've got this shirt on, and this is not a sponsored sponsored episode, but I went with some friends recently to Atlanta. And I don't know, were you the one who told me about the restaurant?
I think I was.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, so it's called the Slutty Vegan, right? Slutty Vegan. So we're always looking for new and interesting places. And it is a vegan restaurant. Yeah, the Slutty Vegan. That's right, I have it on. And the food was amazing. So I had a cheeseburger with bacon, all vegan. It was, oh my God. The fries were great. I texted some of the guys that were with me, and one of the guys responded, the food was awesome. Okay. So very good food. It's healthy. They've got a couple of places in Atlanta, and I think there are a couple of places also in the D.C., Maryland area.
I think there's one in Birmingham.
Is there? Okay.
I think so.
So guys, if you're looking for good vegan food, right, this is the place right here. I mean, we loved it. We had a good time. So thank you for the food, Slutty Vegan. And I got one of their shirts, right? And I think one of the other guys got a shirt as well. So. And
none of you guys are vegan.
And none of us are vegan, right? That's the amazing thing. But it was delicious. So they had, which I didn't have any of the banana pudding, but I heard it was good. And also they had pumpkin pie, right? But the burger that I had and the fries, that was amazing. And I think there was, what did I have? Strawberry lemonade or one of those things. All right. So back to our conversation. So what gift do we give ourselves? Now, as we think about this gift, right, we're unpacking now different parts of it, right? So we talked about consistency a couple of weeks ago. We talked about self-care. We talked about love. We talked about forgiveness. All right. And let's see what comments we're getting. So let's back up. Let's see. So Maria says, and we made this, and we said this several times for a couple of the things, right? Love is a choice. Love is a choice. And there may be people that you find that are not lovable. And that's what Chris Berg is saying. It is a struggle to love someone who is not lovable. All right. Rowella, hey, how are you? Welcome. Rowella, are you new? I think you are. So welcome. Donald says, I once saw a quote that said, love isn't because love is in spite of the fact. Love isn't because love is in spite of the fact. Right. So once again, in spite of, right, we can love. Maria says, Chris Bird, I agree. And we're welcoming Roella. That's right. And Roella, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, just go ahead and give us a phonetic spelling or pronunciation for that. So here's a funny one. So Chris Birch said that loving someone not likable is like drinking beer. It's an acquired taste. I like that one. Or similarly, it is like trying food that you are not used to eating, and then find eventually that you like the taste. Yeah. Now we do that a lot with our kids, right? So we keep giving them. I was talking to someone recently about that, continuing to offer different foods, and then of course the kids begin liking the food. I love it, love it, love it. All right, so love, forgiveness. How about self-compassion? So a lot of what we've talked about kind of mingles and mixes and borders on self-compassion. So what is self-compassion? How would you define that?
I would say self-compassion is a way of treating yourself with gentleness. And that's despite any failures or feelings of inadequacy that you have.
Okay, treating yourself with gentleness. So, going back to our example of you've done something wrong and you feel unlovable because of it. How does self-compassion fit in there?
Usually, most of us would speak negatively to ourselves, about ourselves. We would be hard on ourselves. We would berate ourselves. And when you have self-compassion, then you recognize that you're human. Let's say you made a huge mistake. You recognize that you're human and that you're going to make mistakes. And you speak to yourself in a way that's kind. So I like to think of self-compassion the way we treat infants or small children, right? They're cute, they're lovable, and they do things. Do we get upset with them? No, we don't get upset. We're gentle and we're kind. We're still loving despite, despite that they broke your favorite vase
Right.
or something like that. And so when we show ourselves self-compassion, it's a similar way of being with ourselves.
Okay, so similar being with ourselves. Now, how would you kind of define or make a distinction between self-compassion and, I don't know, maybe love, self-love?
Self-compassion recognizes your humanity. And I think love is more of just choosing to behave in a certain way or choosing to think about yourself in a certain way.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So choosing to behave in a certain way, love, and say that again for the self-compassion.
Self-compassion is recognizing your humanity and that you make mistakes.
Ah, wow. I don't make mistakes.
Never.
So
You notice I said that really quick.
you said everything. I like that. So sometimes so we want to be perfect a lot. I've got to do it perfectly. I've got to do this perfectly. And when we make mistakes, that really causes us a lot of distress. And so understanding that, I do make mistakes and I'm human, but I am still lovable, right?
Yes.
And I can forgive myself are wonderful things that we can do for ourselves. So I love that. And great conversation. Any thoughts on how we bundle all of these together, right? So we talked about consistency, self-care, love, self-compassion, and forgiveness. How do we bundle those all together as a gift for ourselves?
That's a great question. Um, I think that it's all about a different, embracing a different mindset than you're used to, right? And I don't know that one has to come before the other, but if I had to choose one, I would say, love, right? So you love yourself first, right? And you recognize that in loving yourself, there are certain things you want to give yourself. There's a certain way of certain way you want to be, right? And as you are on this journey, discovering how to be more loving to yourself, that's when the self-compassion is going to come in, because you're going to mess up. So you're going to have to embrace your humanity, embrace the fact that you're going to make mistakes, right?
Wow.
And as you're working on your consistency in whether it's self-love or being more compassionate towards yourself, when you fall off, because you will fall off, once again, that self-compassion recognizes that, okay, I'm human, I'm a mere mortal. And when you make a mistake in your consistency, you're able to forgive yourself. So the self-compassion, I believe, comes before the self-forgiveness.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Great. I love that. I love that. Let's stop for a second and let's see who's here. So self-compassion, so Maria, self-compassion, way of treating yourself with kindness, with gentleness. Sorry. I love it. Love it. And we've got Blind Guy, his wife. Their lives are back in the house. Great to hear you both share. Happy holidays to everyone. Same to you. Same to you. And Maria is welcoming them. Hey, 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 welcome back. And they said, yes, we are done traveling for now and back. So good to see you guys. Some of our regulars, we appreciate you guys taking some time to be with us here. Now, let's go ahead and let's see if we can answer some questions. Let's see if we can answer some questions. And let me grab a couple of these here. Let's see, what do we got? So an interesting one. So how can we be kinder to ourselves? How can we be kinder to ourselves? How would you answer that?
Well, it's what we've been talking about. So it's a great question, and it fits the conversation. Now, I think just speaking in general, embracing self-compassion, right? And so specifically, if you're used to when you make a mistake, you say disparaging words about yourself, you say negative things about yourself, acknowledging and perhaps even saying out loud, wow, I made a mistake, but you know what? I'm only human, instead of what you would have said previously. So that's one example of how you can be kinder to yourself.
Okay, how do we kinder to yourself? All right, I like it. Let's see. How about this one? Oh, what is stopping me from being kind to myself? That's wow. So I want to be kind to myself, but what's stopping me?
Maybe you don't believe it's okay. Maybe you believe that being kind to yourself lets yourself off the hook. or showing yourself self-compassion may lead to complacency. Maybe you think it's selfish or narcissistic, and self-compassion is none of those. Okay. So particularly if you're working toward a goal, sometimes we believe that the harder we are on ourselves, that's what motivates us. And that's not actually true. Right? So, just think about the times in your life when you got encouragement, and think about perhaps when you were in grade school. Think about the teachers that you had and the ones who were encouraging, how you responded to them, as opposed to the ones who were not encouraging. So you may have responded out of fear, but who do you think of today when you think about that the best teacher you ever had? And I'm not saying the teacher didn't have a standard and didn't hold you accountable, but they were kind and they were loving towards you. And those are the teachers that you still hold in high esteem, and the teachers that you remember.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's a good question from Chris Burt, and he says, how to recover from a mistake, right? And I'm gonna pull another one up that I think is kind of similar to that, and let's see. Right, how do I overcome feelings of inadequacy, especially when I fail at something that is important? Right, especially when I fail. And then how do I recover from a mistake?
So, as humans, we all struggle with feelings of inadequacy. We may be great in one area, but I promise you, everyone has one area that they're not as strong or they're weaker in. So acknowledging or understanding that you're human and that we all have this common experience where we do have similar struggles. It helps you feel less isolated. Sometimes when we struggle in a particular area, we have the I'm the only one feeling or thought. I'm the only one who doesn't get this, or I'm the only one who behaves like this. I'm the only one who struggles in this area. And that is not the case. So when you understand that feelings of inadequacy is part of the human experience, it won't surprise you when that comes up for you.
Okay. All right. So it's part of the experience.
Yes, it's part of the human experience. And if it doesn't surprise you, and if you expect that at some point you're going to have that feeling, then hopefully when that feeling comes, you'll be able to manage the emotions that come with that a little bit better, a little bit evenly.
Okay. All right. Good. Now here's one. How can I reinterpret a story in my life that doesn't support me? And I am, let's see, how can I reinterpret a story, maybe something that hasn't gone like I should, or maybe I've done something incorrectly. How do I reframe that? I guess that's the idea. How do I reframe it? Right?
Yeah. So one of my favorite, you can call him a thought leader, you could call it a motivational speaker, has this saying. And he says, life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. Right? That's deep.
It doesn't happen to us. It happens
for us.
Wow.
Right? So what that means is if you've had a bad experience, even a traumatic experience, a lot of times we feel that something happened to us, right? And we may walk around with a chip on our shoulder and, carrying around feelings of regret, even feelings, harboring feelings of resentment because this thing happened to us. But what he says is, what if it didn't happen to you, but it happened for you? Right? And what he means by that is, because of whatever it is you experienced, you are who you are today. And if you didn't perhaps lack something, you would not have become creative. You would not have become industrious in filling that gap for something that you lacked. So what if it didn't happen to you, but it happened for you?
Wow. Now, so stay on that thought, and let me pop this question up there. It says, I've been asking myself why I find it so difficult to let go of all the pain and hurtful experiences in my life, and why I struggle so much with regret. Where do I go from here?
Yeah, so it's a similar question, and at the risk of being redundant, you have to find a way to make peace with what happened, and you make peace through acceptance. So you can't go back and change it, but you can accept that it happened, and forge a path to create the life that you want. Right? We all have the ability to create the life that we desire, the life that we want. And and that is part of the work that we have to do. You mentioned that so many adults spend years trying to overcome something that happened in childhood. And that's just part of the work that we all have to do. Once again, this is part of the human experience. Nobody has had a perfect existence, perfect childhood, perfect life. It just is not possible. And, a lot of times we compare and we see what looks to us as a perfect life, but there's no such thing. It doesn't exist.
The grass always looks greener on the other side, right?
Yep.
That one has a better life, better relationship, better whatever. But it doesn't mean that they're not having issues and they're not dealing with some of the same things that we're dealing with. Let's pop this one up here from Blind Guy, his wife, and their lives. Society stops us from being kind to ourselves, keeping up with the Joneses, reaching goals that others want us to reach, not celebrating what we are getting done. Let me pop that up. That went away. So I love that last part, not celebrating what we are getting done. Now, I know that for a lot of your clients, one of the things that you talk about is celebration. I mean, when you've achieved the goal, to celebrate it, I'm taking words. Go ahead. You tell us about that.
Well, so you introduced me as your wife, but I don't think we've touched on what I do, right? So I am a practicing weight loss physician, weight loss coach, and as a result of the work I do with my clients, they're able to achieve life transformation, right? They're able to live longer, healthier lives, more fulfilling lives, and where they are rediscovering themselves, they're dreaming again, they're creating new vision for themselves, and they're more comfortable and more confident in their bodies. And so, when we are comparing ourselves to others, that's the thief of joy. And when I work with my clients, I do encourage them to celebrate. And the celebration is of not just the weight loss, not just the number on a scale, but on the journey as they're rediscovering things about themselves. It's to celebrate those things that you're now exploring, the things that you're embracing. It's the small wins. It's the increase in energy. It's the increase in confidence. It's the better sleep that you're now experiencing. It is how you're showing up differently in your relationships, how you're loving yourself, and how you're no longer accepting poor treatment from others. So we cover we cover so many things, because as you're aware, all of it impacts your weight. And I think that people don't always appreciate the multifactorial contributions to weight gain and therefore to weight loss. So we look at everything. When I say a life transformation, I mean a life transformation.
Wow. I love that. Now, I want to go back because one comment that was made that we didn't put up, it says, be kinder to ourselves by not putting other people's expectations on ourselves.
Yes, I love that. Right? I love that.
Yeah. So don't put what other people want and what they're thinking on yourself. Now, and I'm going to break our thing here for a second and just go back. Several weeks ago, you talked about developing your no, right? And that goes to not putting other people's expectations. And part of that is being kind to yourself, right? Because if you say no to other people, well, it says not just by saying no. I mean, being not all saying no all the time. But if you're saying no to something else, then you can say yes to yourself.
Exactly. And that is there's power in that. Right? When you're clear on what you want, then you know what to say no to.
Wow. Woo. So if I know what I need, what I want, where I'm heading, then not everything, even though it may look good, right? Or maybe it sounds good, right? And maybe it is good for someone else, then I know what I can say yes to for myself.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And when you start with telling yourself yes, then it's easier to say no.
Okay.
Say yes first.
Say yes.
But you're saying yes to yourself, so you can then say no to other people and other people's expectations of you.
Right. Wow. And Donald jumped in there and says, a very important one to me is that it's okay for me to say no. I love it. Oh, wow. All right. And so Blind Guy says, no to them and yes to me. Okay, let me work on that. But it does take work, right? Because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We may be good at whatever they're asking us to do, and our natural bent sometimes as humans, as people, is to try to do as much as we can. And we see that all the time, that people are just out there running, and they're clipping, going at this clip that they can't sustain because they're allowing other people's stuff to kind of pile up on themselves, and they don't take care of themselves, and so self-care gets lost, and self-love gets lost, self-compassion, and sometimes it takes work, people. Right? Let me say that it takes work to do some of this stuff. Right? It's not just you wake up one morning and boom, and it's all done. So it takes energy and it takes time, but you are important.
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
yes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, one of the things I work with my clients on is prioritizing themselves, right? And to the question that we started off the show with, what was the most valuable gift you received this year? So what was the gift maybe someone else gave you or that you gave yourself? For me, the most valuable gift I gave myself was the gift of self-care. So prioritizing that on a daily basis. And I know this is not the show for self-care, but just kind of going back to that for a minute, as we're talking about gifts, prioritizing that on a daily basis helps to decrease my stress. I've got a more positive attitude, and everybody around me benefits when I take care of myself. Lisa Nichols, who is another one of my favorite thought leaders, motivational speakers. Well, she calls herself a transformational speaker. She says you can't, so many times we hear the phrase, you can't give others from an empty cup. And what she encourages us to do is to fill our cup to overflowing and give to others from the overflow. So not from the cup, not from the full cup, but from the overflow.
Ooh, I like that one. I'm gonna write that one down. I'm gonna take that one from you. Let me use that one. So fill my cup and let them get the stuff that flows over.
Yes.
So that means that I've got to be working and building and enriching myself so that I can share to other people.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So one of my favorite people says, and this is Kirk Nugent, he says, it is bad to teach when you're hungry. Right? He said, you can't feed other people if you're trying to get food for yourself, right? Because then you make decisions that aren't in your best interest, right? And you're giving away all of the energy. And I'm adding that part. He didn't say this, but you're giving away all of the energy to them, and you're really drained. And when you show up, you don't show up in your full potential and in your full thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think we pay enough attention to energy, right? So energy grows where it flows. So if all of your energy is exerted on other people, right, you're filling them up, but you're leaving yourself depleted.
Wow.
So you've got to fill yourself up. Be sure you're doing things to elevate your energy, and from there, then you can give to others.
Wow, love it. All right. Now, so all that we're talking about, guys, today has to do with a transformation. And a lot of it has to do with the change in our thoughts, in the change of our words, and the change of our mindset. I recently shared, we were on one of our walks. I was talking about a book that I'd read, Tom Sawyer. And an interesting story in that book is that Tom is, I guess he's gotten in trouble. And his punishment was to go outside and whitewash the fence. And so he's out there now and he's whitewashing this fence, and a kid comes by and he gets this idea, right? And the idea is he's going to convince the kid that just comes by that what he's doing is quote unquote valuable and not hard work. So the kid comes over and he said, man, you got to do all that work. He said, man, work. I'm enjoying this. And so they have this conversation where he's talking about whitewashing the fence in such a way with words that the kid says, hey, let me do it. He said, no, I'm not letting you do this. And he said, yeah, if you let me do it, I'm going to give you. And in one of the versions, he gives him a pocket knife, and another one he gives him an apple and some other stuff. And so the kid now has given Tom, or paid him, right, for him to whitewash the fence, and Tom is hanging back. And so by the end of that scene, there are kids, 10, 12 kids that are out there now whitewashing the fence. And Tom is just kind of laying back, right, and enjoying it because he used words that presented the whitewashing in a way that those guys, those girls, and I think there were some girls in there too, that they felt it was valuable. So that's the power of our words, the power of our thoughts. If you present something in a certain way, you can change your mindset. You're reframing it. Going back to our question about how do I forgive myself and what if I've done something wrong? Reframing it. It all has to do with our thoughts. It has to do with our words, has to do with our minds. And the things that we're talking about now, giving this gift to yourself of consistency, of self-care, of love, of self-compassion, right? And forgiveness. Wow. Can you imagine if our thoughts were wrapped up in that? If that was the way we woke up in the morning, if we showed up with that ability, we showed up in that spirit, what an amazing thing that would be. Well, guys, it is Christmas coming up. And we are so excited that you guys have been part of our family for as long as we've been doing the show. Started in July, and you guys have been consistent. We thank you for being part of what we do. As we go into the new year, as we get into Christmas and we get into the new year, we don't know what the new year is going to bring. Right? It's unexpected. But you're still here. You're still standing. You've made it this far. And there's no doubt that you have the ability, you have the skills, and you have the power from on high to make it through this year, into the new year, and to be successful. And so from us here at this channel, we thank you once again for being with us. We wish you a happy holidays, just grace and peace and love and good health to you and your family as we move into the new year. This is Dr. Dwain Woode from Diabetes and Endocrine Wellness Center and The Light Away. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we will continue to help you understand your body so that you can take charge of your health, avoid complications, and live a healthy, fulfilling life. So, what do you think of the conversation tonight?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. When you started this series a few weeks back, I thought, wow, that's really good. I want to be a part of that. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we got some comments down here. Let's see. Blind Guy says, daily self-care. Yes to more sleep. Yes. I got to get some more sleep. Okay? I got to get some more sleep. Let's see. Blind Guy, he says, let's sleep more in 2022. And at Maria, check. Happy holidays, everyone, from Maria. Happy holidays from Donald and Lauren Hicks. Lauren says, great discussion tonight. Great team and teachers. Dr. C really has such a calm tone. Happy holidays. Hey, wait a minute. So why don't you take a minute and tell people who you mentioned it a little bit before we tell them who you are. What do you do? And other than being my wonderful wife, what do you do?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, so I'm Dr. Charmaine Woode, wife and mother, physician, and I am a practicing weight loss physician. And if anyone would like more information, feel free to reach out to us at thelighterway.com. Would be happy to connect and answer any questions that you have. And I mentioned it earlier, but I'm happy to work with people who are looking for a transformed life. And we incorporate the attributes of self-care, self-compassion, loving yourself, forgiving yourself. All of these things are part of our journey as humans. And I encourage that. I'm a strong proponent of that. And as you're moving to 2022, I hope that you would determine to treat yourself with kindness. Be gentle to yourself. Forgive yourself when you get off track and get right back on.
Awesome.
And we'll have a wonderful rest of the year and a healthy 2022. Wishing that for all of our viewers and listeners this evening.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
And so, guys, put in the comment, tell her to come back, right? Because we want to see her. We want to see her here some more. And G. Albert just hopping on. Hey, G. Albert, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. And once again, this is Dr. Dwain Woode and Dr. Charmaine Woode from Diabetes and Endocrine Wellness Center and The Light Away, educating the public for a better you. Let's get some music and let's get out of here.